We're much more mobile and having a lot more fun.
Well,
Thank you,
hello,
X39.
everyone. I'm Janet Kiefer, and I am a Senior Presidential Director with LifeWave and a member of the Live Younger community. And welcome to the Power of the Patch seminar. We're very excited and appreciate you joining us tonight. We have some very exciting news to share for those of you who really seek out natural wellness approaches, are looking for things that help us feel younger, look younger, and who doesn't want that? So I hail from the Austin, Texas area, and 4 years ago, a friend and I were just chatting on the phone, and she asked, "Have you heard about this patch?" And I was like, "No, I've never heard anything about this." So I had no clue what she was talking about. However, what my friend didn't know was that I've been suffering with 3 years of just screaming knee pain of which surgery really wasn't an option. Walking downstairs was very painful. Getting on and off airplanes, because I was traveling a lot then, it was just comical trying to watch me navigate with bad knees and get my luggage. But I didn't want to really get hooked on, strong pain drugs, right? Well, my friend's question did change my life. It changed my health, and surprisingly, it changed my wealth. So thank you for giving us some of your time tonight. We're going to share a bit about this amazing wellness technology. Then we have a special guest who you'll want to hear. Hint, it's a doctor. Then we'll end tonight with some really valuable things for you to consider. So grab a cold drink or grab a cup of tea, grab a notebook, because honestly, this is interesting. So welcome to the Power of the Patch. So if you'll just give me a moment here, I'm going to go over and share some wonderful slides, which I'm happened to put somewhere in on my desktop and was just looking for them. So give me just a moment here. I had them up. All right. So as we share tonight, you probably will also have some questions. And if you're like me, I was really, the longer I listened to this story, I was like, this is really interesting. I bet there's someone in my life this could help. So welcome to the Power of the Patch. And what we would like to ask you, a couple questions, because we feel health is truly our greatest wealth. But the symptoms of aging, the symptoms of being in pain, the symptoms of disease just aren't fun, right? Remember, really, when you could work all day, you could party all night, your friends would come over, you're in your 20s, it's like 11 at night, and they would go, "Oh, let's go dancing." And you'd be like, "Sure." And now you're like, "It's 9 o'clock, I have to stay home," right? And we would get up the next day and just feel great. Well, here's the issue that no one tells us about. The older we get, the faster we age and the slower we heal because we have a natural decline in our body's number one repair system. And before seeing this, I didn't know about it. And my background was pre-med. My background, I had owned a health food store and a fitness club in my past. I didn't understand this. And that is stem cells, that by age 30, we have a decrease in those master cells that are making blood and making tissue and growing our bones and keeping the brain healthy and strong. Well, those start declining. No one tells you about this. And by age 60, really only a small percentage are really active and giving you energy and helping you sleep. Your hair is thinning, all these different things are happening. You're like, why does this happen? So if you're like me, I finally figured out once that person introduced me to this breakthrough technology, I figured out what I wanted to be as I got older, and that was younger. I just didn't know it was possible. So, a couple quick questions. If you could change one thing about your health or in the health of someone you love and care for, what would it be? Well, that day she called me, it was definitely knee pain. What if you could reduce or eliminate that issue? What impact would it have on quality of life? Well, honestly, it would have impacted me every single day. So we want to ask you a question. If you, I can show you a safe and affordable way to change that trajectory of aging from this decline to coming back up to help you look and feel and live younger. Would you be interested? And if you're
No
on tonight,
slides. No slides.
there's no slides.
No.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm not sure why they are not broadcasting. Give me a moment, folks, and my apologies. Thank you for telling me. Okay, so you're listening to me with no fun visuals. All right, so let me get back here and sharing my screen again. Can you see the slides now?
Yes.
Thank you so much for telling me. Thank you, thank you. All right, guys, sorry. Okay, so would you be interested? Absolutely. LifeWave is the company we'd like to introduce you to, and their focus for the last 14 of 20 years has been on anti-aging and regenerative science. And if you're like me, I think even going past anti-aging to age reversal sounded pretty exciting. We have a technology called X39. It's a wearable light technology, which when I was first introduced to this, I didn't really understand it, but it's truly a historic breakthrough in holistic wellness. It's patented, it's a very inexpensive wearable patch, it's affordable, it's safe, it's non-invasive, it's drug-free. You would have got me, at the beginning of any of those great benefits. It's a unique form of phototherapy, which means light therapy, which uses very specific frequencies of infrared light to increase and improve our health and wellness. But before we jump in here, I do want to say LifeWave products really aren't designed or intended to heal or treat or cure or diagnose any disease. We're not doctors. However, what we have is excellent news over on the wellness side of how your body can reverse that trajectory of aging and turn it around. So it has the ability to support our body's innate ability to heal itself. Great news. So I'd like to introduce X39 with a short video. It's pretty exciting, so hold on here.
An empowered life has no expiration date. We're all created to do incredible things, like conquer summits, catch big waves, live our passions. As time goes on, our bodies begin to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Our energy levels decline, sleep patterns shift, and recovery slows. But our bodies are masterpieces of design, holding the potential to bounce back better than ever. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and regenerative science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHKCU, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, which requires external light sources, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality, enhancing the body's flow of natural energy. For improvements in strength, stamina, performance, and overall health and well-being, with the simplicity of an affordable, non-invasive, non-transdermal patch. As we age, levels of these life-enhancing elements, which are associated with wellness and longevity, begin to decline. LifeWave invested 10 years into stem cell research, which resulted in over 70 patents. X39 was born to bring to the public a product that can support wellness in an entirely new way, supporting the production of younger, healthier cells with wearable light technology. Becoming a powerhouse is easier than you think. Harness your body's natural potential to maintain youthful energy and vitality, because life comes at you fast, but it doesn't have to pass you by. Live long, live well, live young. Be the light with LifeWave X39. LifeWave.
I love that sentence, as they say in the video, that our body is a masterpiece of design. And I think we all agree to that. We live in pretty magical bodies. But what was so magical when I was introduced to this patch, I had no idea that we had an infrared light field and that light really was part of controlling our body's health. So welcome to the Power of the Patch. It's based on the science of photo light, bio, or body modulation, and it contains very specific combinations of organic materials and nanocrystals sprayed onto an adhesive patch. And when it's applied to or near the body within about 3 inches, it is activated by our body's own infrared light heat. And the patch is interacting with that light field. It's emitting very specific wavelengths of light that stimulate targeted areas, biochemical responses in our body. And the whole time, you don't feel it. I almost think of it as like a little computer chip talking to the body. and it's the scientific basis of all LifeWave phototherapy patches. So this is our brilliant visionary and founder, David Schmidt, who is both a brilliant science and researcher who started on this path way back before the year 2000. And when he was doing light research with the US military, he started to see that the body could react to light therapy. He's really a truly genius inventor. I've met him multiple times. He now has over 200 patents, which is a very rarefied air for inventors. We're on the leading edge of phototherapy research. And if you think, really, how come I haven't heard of this? Well, think of light. If you've had cataract surgery, that's light. They're using lasers, you guys. Light is really the breakthrough now in medical technologies. Well, David had already conducted over 80 clinical studies proving the efficacy of LifeWave's phototherapy products when, as the video said, he then invested 10 years into stem cell research with, I think I've heard something like 30 to 50 just patents on this product. So the many studies are in the works. He's just released 4 more. So let me tell you a little bit about LifeWave. It's really the holy grail, really, of health, healing, and regeneration. It's affordable. It's doing what multi-billion-dollar big pharma companies have been trying to do for 30 years. And if you think of the amount of money they can charge for some of the drugs, can you imagine if they had a drug that activated stem cells? Well, when used in conjunction with nutrition and hydration, and we really ask you, please drink water with this because the light and the water transmit better within our tissues. Well, X39 has been proven to activate a specific copper peptide that it sports and then enhances the stem cell activity. So it alters gene expression towards a younger, more vibrant you. And guess what? You don't have to know it, you don't have to feel it. It's going to work day in and day out. So we have many, many patents, many clinical studies, maybe many field results, and X39 is proven to turn around our biological clock. It's helping people all ages look, feel, perform, feel better. And across, I'm going to tell a little more about the company coming up, but in 80 countries. So right now, as the sun's setting here in the US, there's people all over the world applying patches as the sun's coming up. So what does it do specifically? First of all, more energy. Would you like more energy? The problem is, as we're aging, as we get past 40 and 50, the mitochondria in our cells, without the stem cells helping them along, they're reducing energy. It's sort of like a power grid going out. And you get up thinking, I used to bounce out of bed. What happened? Well, using X39 daily, applying it to your skin, you start to increase cellular energy. And from the first day I've used, many people will tell me, Janet, I just feel better. I've got more energy. What about sleep? So often, especially for us after menopause ladies, your whole sleep cycle kind of goes a kilter, right? Well, using the X39 daily really can help improve the quality of your sleep and often the duration. I've had a number of people tell me, oh my gosh, I slept through the night. It's been so long. What about sports performance? I know many of us work out. I used to own a gym. Well, X39 improves both the sports performance and recovery after exercise. I recently had someone join in with me that's a professional trainer, and he called one day and said, I can't believe it. I'm not even sore after my workouts. He's just so impressed. Some X39 users over 50 have reported feeling stronger and more fit than they were in their 20s and 30s. And if you doubt that, we'll show you the clinical studies, okay? What about true athletes? Well, years ago, our first patch, Energy Enhancer, when it got out to the market, it was picked up by pro, Olympic, and amateur athletes, and they started setting records in their personal best. And what they loved was it wasn't a drug, so it couldn't be banned. There was no anti-doping prohibitions because it was just letting the body react and be healthier and stronger on its own. What about pain? Well, nobody likes being in pain. You might go a day or two or a night without sleep, but no one wants to be in pain, right? Well, most people notice a reduction in pain within minutes of application because the X39 is signaling to the DNA level and it's helping bringing down inflammations. Often, people think, oh, I don't feel it. And then later they're like, whoa, I just don't hurt as much. So we also like to talk about brain health. Being in pain is tough. Having brain issues along with pain is even tougher. Well, these scans, these EEG scans of a 77-year-old woman here, had a lot of inflammation in her brain. They scanned the brain for a baseline. They then applied X39. At 3 weeks, they scanned her again and scanned her at 6 weeks. And you see clinically the inflammation coming down in her brain. And what we've found, and we have clinical studies on this, many people report their memory's better, their focus is better, their cognition functions are better. Even those who've had long haul COVID, we've had some people tell us, wow, my thinking is back. So that's pretty exciting. What about wound healing? Maybe you had an accident, maybe you had an injury, maybe you had surgery. Well, because it's activating the stem cells within the body, it really supports the healing process. Often, and if I had time, I could name 4 people right now whose doctor came back and said, "You're healing at about double the rate we see." And a lot of them are like, "How old are you?" Pretty exciting. So look at these results. We love showing pictures. This lovely woman in the top left, she had really struggled with allergies. And you know how you just shuts down your brain and you're weeping and blowing your nose. Well, look at her after 4 months. She looks like her, younger cousin came in from out of town. This woman took pictures day 1, day 42, a year later, and a year after that. I think we can all agree she definitely looks younger, healthier, more alive. This young guy had been out on the ski slopes in a snowboard, ran into a pile of rocks, but they applied X39. Look at how quickly he healed in just 5 days. It truly is activating the body to heal quickly. This gentleman, BJ, I have heard him speak about this accident. He fell through rafters. He was in construction. He broke 6 ribs and punctured his lungs. Those of you who've ever broken a rib, I'm told by doctors, really painful. Well, if you can see down here by the June 17th, right down by the 7, they put the patch on his back near the ribs. Here he was about 5 days later, the bruising's clearing, 2 weeks later, almost gone. That isn't the story, however. The real story is the ribs, the bones healed so quickly, he was back to work in 3 weeks instead of 6. That wasn't common. This is a lady who had had radiation to her sinuses dealing with cancer. After she was done, she applied the patch. Over about 3 weeks period, you can really see the inflammation and what happened from the radiation. It cleared new tissues. This is a friend of mine who, when we shared the patch with her, actually didn't want to listen to us because her doctor had never talked to her about it, and she was pretty skeptical. But she unfortunately was in massive pain. So one day she said, "Okay, just put that patch on me." And she was shocked because within about 5 minutes, her pain level, already taking pain medications that day, dropped from about a level 8 to a level 2. And you can see over about 9 months the change that came about. Look at her eyes. That's her eyes and her liver clearing. The body's healing from within without drugs, you guys. It's so exciting. So here's Karen, the lady with cancer, a little more detailed. And you can really see this didn't obviously feel very good to go through those treatments. But I really appreciate that she shared her pictures because here you look at her by June 30th and you wouldn't even know it had happened, that she could heal so quickly. So if you're interested in wrinkle reduction, ladies, wouldn't you love to have less fine lines and wrinkles? Well, we ask you to take pictures like Karen did, like the other folks did, because over about 8 to 12 weeks, you're going to start noticing a lot of wrinkles and fine lines are going away because the body's getting flooded with collagen again. There's muscle growing in the face, chins are coming up, labial folds are going away, eyes are coming up. It's just stunning when the body starts turning around. Also, do you have some nasty scars you'd like to get rid of? Well, the X39 over time has the ability to actually reverse scarring and bring back brand new tissue. It's called remodeling. And I have friends that this has happened to. Okay, ladies, not just ladies, but men, but many of the ladies tell me, "Janet, my hair just is so much thinner than before." Well, wouldn't we love to have thicker, stronger hair? Well, we have many, many reports of people at about week 8 through 12. My stylist said, "Janet, you're growing new baby hair. What are you doing?" We've had that happen many, many times. So the X39 is really youth renewal. It's really the result is a better, healthier, more vital you. And when I first saw this, I didn't know any of this. I just was desperate to see if it would help with knee pain. And after about 4 weeks, the first time in 3 years, I wasn't in pain. Well, I didn't know all of this and what would happen until my hairstylist said, "You're growing new hair." And then I found out it reversed a condition I never thought possible, where I lost my sense of smell in my 40s due to an incident. 2 years into wearing this patch, one day I went out and I could smell my roses. And I was like, oh my gosh, my sense of smell is back. So we'd like to share a few videos. These people were pretty excited too.
X39 has really changed my life. I'm not stuck at home in pain and in bed. I'm out here with my friends and enjoying my family.
Big thank you to Lifeway for helping me, helping my family, and helping the 100 people now in our team who are using Lifeway daily and their families. Big thank you. Love the products.
And I have energy through the roof.
I sleep better. I have so much more energy.
Throughout the day, I can focus better. I can concentrate in my work.
Our church worship service lasts 45 minutes. For the last 2 years, I've not been able to stand that long. 2.5 weeks into wearing the X39 patch, the pastor said, "You can now be seated." It dawned on me at that moment that, my goodness, I've been standing this whole time, didn't realize it.
After starting using the technology for approximately 2 weeks, my pain completely disappeared.
32 years of pain gone in 3 days.
I just love the products. They just help me to feel younger and younger year after year.
Thank God for X39.
My skin become younger, softer, firmer.
It's been really amazing.
I love X39 because it really helped reduce the inflammation in my knee. I can now run again. Woohoo!
So you think, well, why doesn't my doctor tell me about this? Well, we're not going to in any way disparage wonderful doctors who are trying to help us. They're just in a different system. But we have many thousand doctors using these products in their practices. And in fact, personally, I've talked with all of these. So I'm going to stop my share for a moment here. And I'm going to introduce, give me a moment here. And I would like to introduce Anne Moreau. And Anne is a senior presidential director with LifeWave. Anne's a registered nurse with years and years of clinical practice. She's also a certified nutritionist and a longtime counselor with drug and alcohol issues who's been involved with LifeWave for almost 5 years. We're really blessed with so many experienced professionals in LifeWave. So please help me welcome Anne as she introduces tonight's guest. So thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Janet, for that wonderful introduction. And what a powerful presentation. Loved your examples. That was really wonderful. So yes, I do want to bring in our guest tonight, Dr. Pamela Lewin. Dr. Pam, would you put on your camera and come on? There you are. I see you. Yes. So, Dr. Pam, I want to tell the audience about you because you are an amazing practitioner. Dr. Pam is an MD. She's worked over 50 years as a family practitioner and a wellness consultant. She is retired, officially retired, Dr. Pam, but it's only been a few months. But she was working in Ocala, Florida, giving away services because that's who she is. She has a heart of gold. In the past, she was a medical doc, a medical director for Estella Bird Whitney Wellness and Community Resource Center, Incorporated. So it's so wonderful to have you here tonight, Dr. Pam. I look forward to chatting with you here tonight. And tell us about why you got interested in LifeWave. What brought you here?
Thank you, Anne. I hardly recognize myself. That was a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. Well, I had been prescribing tons of medication in my practice, as you can imagine, over the years. And I was looking for a modality for my patients. Many of them didn't want to take injections. They didn't want to take pills. And they wanted to get rid of things that they were suffering from. And I was saying, I wish there was something that you could just stick on your skin that would work. And lo and behold, one day my friend Connie came to me and said, you gotta look at this. And at that time, I had just left another company, which is a healthy aging company too. You know, I've always been very conscious about my health and aging healthily, or, you know, well. And when I started to look at it, the more I found out about it, the more excited I became, because this technology was actually very brilliant. Here it is, you slap a sticker on your skin, your body is emitting this light and it's trapping the light, sending it back into your skin. Your skin has these receptors for this light, this infrared light, and that starts a whole cascade of good things, many of which you heard from Janet there. And so I was able to help many of my patients. But of course, as you know, that clinic that I founded was a free clinic for people who had no money. So I found myself having to kind of buy patches and give them away. So anyway, it was a good thing while it lasted. And I realized that they could get the benefit, I could get the benefit. I play pickleball, I'm very active, I have grandkids and everything. And I find that using the patches gives me so much energy, and it's energy not just to get up in the morning and get going. When I come home, I still feel like doing stuff. You know, it's like you want to complete what you began, you know, and many other things. Like I injured my shoulder, I've injured my thumb, my knee, my leg. I was playing pickleball one day and I just heard a sucking sound and I realized, whoops, I hurt my leg. In fact, I had ruptured my plantaris muscle. This is the muscle that they call tennis leg. It's when you suddenly start off moving in one direction, you know, and it's a muscle that you can sort of do without, but it helps to raise your foot a little bit better. It helps out the big calf muscle. There, when I did an MRI, finally I got my doctor to order an MRI because he was doing ultrasounds and all that, thinking maybe you have a blood clot in your leg. I said, no, I have no blood clot. And I knew I didn't, because I know these patches will help you with that too, right? And I had a hematoma, or a collection of blood, 3 by 4 centimeters, 15 centimeters long. It's like just a whole collection of blood where the muscle used to be. And the muscle was now down around my ankle by my Achilles tendon. And you know, Anne, I did not use any medication to help me with that pain. All I did was use my patches. And as people may know, there are more than one patch out there, but we're stressing the main one, X39 now, because for years, David had created patches to do different things. But once X39 came out, this became the one patch to rule them all. It did everything that the others did to some extent. Some do it more, but still, this is the one patch that you can take and use.
So how long did it take for that to heal?
It took me 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Normally it takes 4 to
That's
6 weeks to
amazing.
heal, and I was ready to go. But I said, you know what? For the better part of caution, I stayed out another week. I didn't go back on the court.
Well, you got to tell our audience how old you are, because they're not going to believe.
Go ahead. I celebrated my 80th birthday last August, so I'm into my 81st year this year. Age is just a number, and you know that.
That's
Every
right.
year, as the earth goes around the sun, we become one more year aged, but not necessarily more decrepit, as I like to say. So age becomes a number, you know, you keep on going. In fact, about a month ago, I attended a birthday party, an 80th birthday party for the mother of a very dear friend of mine. And there she had many people that were friends of hers and mine, but I hadn't seen these people for, I would say, 10 years. And they took one look at me and said, you look exactly the same as last time I saw you. And I'm saying, that's my business.
That's exactly right.
I'm so amazed that I look exactly the same as when they saw me 10 years ago. And, you know, I'm happy about that, because
well, your skin is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
yeah.
for those new people that are here tonight, Dr. Pam, who don't really know a whole lot about, I mean, Janet did a beautiful job explaining all about the patches. So now let's talk about, you know, how long do you wear the patches? You know, why do you take them off? You know, what other things are important about the use of these, of X39 or any of the patches?
Okay, all right. So here's the thing. These patches work off your body as the source of energy. The heat, which is the frequency of light, which is infrared light, coming out of your body is what triggers the action of the patch. And the patch is it's just a little lattice inside you know, the white part of it has this crystals, which are a refractory surface. They act like a mirror. So the light bounces back off it and into the skin and forms a signal. This is a signal for your body to upregulate this peptide. And a peptide is just 3 amino acids strung together, GHK copper peptide. And it links up with copper, and copper loosely in the bloodstream is not good for you. But these link up with the copper and help many things to happen. And I'll go back to the questions you asked me in just a second. One of which is that they are in the bones. It helps with bone density. And many people have found that in spite of them exercising and all that, they're gaining weight. But what do you think they're gaining? They're lost all the fat, but they're gaining bone weight and muscle weight. So that's one of the things that it does. Anyway, because it's a signal, you don't want to ignore the signal. As I say, if I start tapping your forehead like that, you'll blink the first couple of times. But if I keep on doing it, you're going to stop blinking because, you know, you got that signal now. And then it's the same thing with us. We have a phenomenon they call attenuation, which means if you wear the patch every day and don't take it off, the body is going to respond less well to that signal. So you got to give it a chance to reset, and then it will respond again. And then the energy that is moving is going through there's a structure inside your body through collagen. And I heard David talking about this in a video I was listening to about the water machine, talking about the crystal structure in the collagen, and it carries light, just like the veins and arteries carry blood. So we actually do have like a fiber optic cable inside our bodies that carry the light, which I thought was a great picture. To the brain and to give that signals for it to start to do the things that it does. So you need to hydrate yourself because that's when the energy moves much better. And there's some things you want to do because your body is making new cells all the time, and they're knocking off some of the old dead cells that are of no use, you know, or the rogue cells that are happening. And so you got to do some things to give yourself the right raw materials. Eat right, avoid the things that are inflammatory in your body, you know, sugar and acid foods and some of the things like that. You want to get lots of vegetables and minerals because you've got to have those minerals to keep the copper going and all of that. And then sleep. You need to sleep. Usually 6 to 8 hours is what is recommended. And they say for every hour before midnight you sleep is worth 2 hours after midnight. So go to bed early. I have to tell that to myself too. And then exercise. You got to keep moving so that the lymphatics and the arteries and the veins and the fluid keeps moving in your body. So it's important that you be consistent though, because 100% it won't work if you don't wear it. It works when you do. And what can you expect? After the first 24 hours, 4,000 genes begin to reset to a younger, healthier state. Just think about that. In other words, as you started to get younger, all your organs are being reformed and remade. So perhaps I'm now no longer 80, I may be about 60, 59, who knows? I have not done that blood test to find out yet, but I will. Within 4 weeks, your army is now on the move, and it's starting with your immunity. You are able to respond like first responders, critical responders. And I always like to get that picture of the ambulance, you know, when there's an accident, here comes the ambulance. It has everything that it needs, you know, and the stem cells have everything they need to fix you. They made you, they can fix you, you know. And so after 6 weeks, brain balancing starts to take place. Within 3 months, collagen is increased. You fill in all the little fine lines and the wrinkles, you know. 6 months, your heart. And sometimes you're looking for a little thing like a finger that doesn't straighten out. I remember Robin talking about her finger that was like that for years. And then after a while, all these things were taken care of. And then it went to that, you know. So the stem cells have an innate wisdom. They go to the place in your body that's more critical to your longevity. So they're there. And then after a year, visible changes are, people come up to you and say, wow, what are you doing? Because you look amazing, you know?
Right. We have, I mean, I have many friends who are using this technology who had the blood test, and their blood test has shown that they've gotten biologically younger after using the patches. So yeah, this technology is quite amazing.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
is there a problem with children wearing the patches? What's the
Well,
recommendation here?
we cannot do studies on children, and so we can't make any claims from the studies that we've done. However, God gave us brains as He gave us the kids. And so mothers tend to be very intuitive about what their kids can and cannot do. And when children become verbal and they can tell you how they feel, number one, and whether or not the patches help, it's possible we can use the patches on them. And in fact, we have a pediatrician in our group who regularly says, that her daughter asked for the patch. She uses the patches on her daughter and she likes that idea and the effect that it has
My
on her.
grandkids came over this weekend for Easter, and they are, anything happens, they're right at the door. Ma'am, I hurt myself. Can I have a patch? Yeah.
Magic stickers, exactly. Yes, exactly.
Right.
So,
is there anyone that shouldn't wear the patches, Dr. Pam?
The one thing that we want to stress is that because it improves your immunity, and these cells are out there looking to find any cells that shouldn't be there, if you are suffering from certain diseases and you happen to be like you had a transplant or something like that, and you're actively on an immune suppressant drug, your stem cells and your medication are going to be fighting each other. So we say hold off while you're actively taking the medication, and then you can take it afterwards. I know people who have had transplants who use the patches now many years later. And even if you're going through chemotherapy and that sort of thing, just hold off for the moment and then you can get back on it later, I think.
So as we come to the end of this talk, I really wanted to talk to you about what about stress? We talked a little bit about stress today. You and I had a conversation around that, and we talked about how stress can really impact your health in a big way. So I wondered if you'd talk a little bit about that.
Yes, Anne, there's a piece of paper here. If I gave you this paper and said, Anne, hold this piece of paper for me, and you said, sure, and you grab it, and I take off and I go home, and I call you from my home 6 hours later and say, Anne, are you still holding that paper? You'll tell me how stressed you are. This is the thing. Pressure comes from without, stress comes from within. Our response to the pressures from outside of us is what really creates this stress in our bodies. And so our muscles tense up, or when you say your stomach gets in a knot, your brain gets, I'm not sure what's going on with my computer here, but yes, so the muscles, not only the voluntary muscles get stressed, people grind their teeth or bright, the muscles in our blood vessels also tense up and inside, elsewhere. And so we have to get something that will calm that down. And in fact, I was reading today that red light therapy is useful against stress. And that's exactly what we have in the way of our patches. And so we are able to alleviate these symptoms that are associated with stress by using our patches. And there's a particular patch that we have that balances out our nervous system. And so although we're talking about X39, it does have some of that effect as well. So stress now is just a nuisance. You don't have to be, quote unquote, suffering from stress. We can actually have I think that my camera has just gone off. We can have the relief from that just by what we're doing here.
Yes.
Yeah, so our patches are amazing. They do everything except walk and talk. And so we are throwing it out there now. We're looking for some people to help us walk and talk about these patches because they are so amazing.
Well, I want to thank you, Dr. Pam, for all the incredible information you gave tonight. And you've got a ton of comments about your skin and how beautiful you are.
Oh, well, thanks for me. I had no time to look at the chat.
So thank you so much for this valuable information. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to have Janet come back to finish the rest of the presentation. So Janet, join us back again, and Dr. Pam and I will hand it right over.
Well, thank you so much, Ann and Dr. Pam. I so enjoy this. I always learn so much from all of our practitioners and doctors. I think we're so blessed in this community. And Dr. Pam, everybody's saying they want to look and be like you at 80. So put me on the list too. So those of
Tell
you
them keep patching.
yes, keep patching. So as we close tonight, let me ask you something. When I was learning about LifeWave, were you like me? I was thinking about, "Oh, gosh, there's this friend I know, and this cousin needs this thing. And I just kept thinking of all these people I wanted to share it with, right? So if you're like me, I'd like to help you know how to share this wonderful, wonderful technology with people. So again, and to tell me, I should be able to get my slides up again here if I may. And so let me jump in here. And those of you, I think we just always have a heart and we want to help people. Well, let me tell you a little bit more about LifeWave because the company was a small company for about 18 years. David was creating patches. He was getting out. The word was be around. A lot of people had heard about LifeWave. But in that 8 years, he was developing X39. When they launched in 2019, the company exploded, you guys. And this light technology has gone all around the world. And it's caused the company to grow like 3,000% in 6 years. Well, I've helped launch some companies. And if you have 10 or 20% growth with a company, people are turning heads like, what's going on? Well, we are getting just spectacular growth worldwide. We're now the #1 growth company in network marketing 5 years in a row. So that's a clue. Because think about it, no one really wants to get old and decrepit. The longevity market with lots of products and services is now an $8 trillion market. It's bigger than pro sports and cosmetics combined because people are looking for something to help them with just like Dr. Pam was sharing. So I was thinking, I need to share this with a few folks. So I learned a bit about LifeWave. It was started in 2000 when David, as I said, was working with the military, with US Navy SEALs, and they were really trying to increase the battle-ready strength and the stamina, the performance of the Navy SEALs, because you know the stress those guys are under. And they didn't want to, of course, use drugs or stimulants or caffeine. And he'd been working with light technology. And as David has said in videos, he goes, the military's been working with light research for 40 years. They just won't tell us, right? So he founded the company in 2004. He was developing different patches. It started having international distribution. We have, of course, offices here in the US, but also in Ireland for distribution all around the world because the patches are going to over 80 countries. And if you're a guest tonight, you're like me. I was like, how come I didn't know about this? We've got 16 global distribution centers. And this last year in the fall, we opened a brand new headquarters in Draper, Utah. It's truly, David is a fan of Star Trek, and we have this state-of-the-art space age welcome center, which I'm going to share with you right now. And I've had the pleasure of going through this tour.
Let's go.
I can't hear the song.
Well, hi there, and welcome to LifeWave's global headquarters. 世界中の何十万もの人々にとって、ライフウェブは希望を象徴し、真実と光の灯台を象徴しています。
It's one of those things where you have to be there to understand the magnitude of what you experience when you walk in. It literally is giving me goosebumps. Like it's just mesmerizing.
All I can say is, wow.
Felt like we were on a journey in outer space, just simply amazing.
What an incredible, breathtaking experience.
I cannot believe what I saw, but I saw it. Wherever you bring here, they will be sold.
The genius and the vision and the work that went into this was absolutely amazing.
It's just honestly mind-blowing to see the technology, the evolution of this company.
The sky's the limit. That's all I can say.
I'm just speechless. It was so beautiful. I don't even know what to say.
This is the most exciting, jaw-dropping presentation I've ever experienced.
So if you're someone who's excited about the future, who sees the opportunities that are coming, that doesn't get waylaid by the bad news on the media all the time, LifeWave is on the cutting edge of years of innovation. David has products stretched out for the next 7 years. So for as many people in this time, lots of people are trying to get well, but also their finances are in jeopardy. We're just seeing what's happened with the economy. And wouldn't it be helpful to have a second income? I think all of us really truly need it. We're living longer, we're trying to stay healthy, but our finances often don't keep up with that. And I was facing that. So we invite you to help us get the word out about X39 because these are exclusive products. You can't go buy stem cell activation anywhere, you guys. There's no competition. And we have a really simple system how you share it, and you can bring people on, and we have these wonderful doctors and practitioners, right? We have websites, we have training, we have support. But there's really a low cost of entry. You're paying for your patches, and that's about it to get going and start sharing them with people. But I think something that's really wonderful, there's just this satisfaction of being rewarded for making a difference in people's lives. And I truly mean that because people are doing all kinds of side things. And I love cosmetics and clothes and stuff. But every day I have the privilege to go out and share something that truly changes people's lives. And I could keep you here, as could Anne, all night telling you some of those stories. So, in addition to being a rock solid company, we're debt free. Woohoo! We're a 20-year-old company. It's not a startup. Nobody on Wall Street owns us, so they can't come in and raid the company. And think about it, we're in 80 countries. Who do you know in Mexico? Who do you know in Australia? Who do you know in Europe? Right? South Africa. All these people have stem cells who are declining. This is a huge opportunity, you guys. We have a compensation plan that's really generous. It pays 50% of all of sales to the partners. That helps you pay for your patches, which may be enough for you. You go, great, I'll share it with some friends and get my patches paid for. But before long, you're going to start seeing people are calling you up going, I want that patch. So there's 3 ways to get started. Over on the right here, here's all the wonderful benefits of wearing the patches, right? Who doesn't want reduced inflammation and reduced pain and more energy, right? Well, one way you can start just as a retail customer, you can buy a sleeve of patches. There's 30 in them, one a day, right? Kind of like your vitamins. 12 hours on, as Dr. Pam said, 12 hours off. And it's $149.95. But girlfriends, we all know girlfriends don't let other girlfriends pay retail, right? So we have a preferred customer program where the cost is dropped to the wholesale price. You save $50, $99.95. People can afford that, you guys. People are dropping that money easily at Target every weekend, right? It has a monthly auto ship subscription for 6 months, but there's no real long-term commitment. the company's incredibly generous. If you want to stop, stop. But the reality is, when people turn to you and go, "You're looking younger. What's going on with you?" You start going, "Oh, maybe this patch is working." And we have a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. No big deal. The best way we feel to get started is being able to share it. You get paid for sharing, your patches are paid for. You can earn part-time or full-time income. And most people start out sharing the patch because they had such great results and they care about people, right? Let me show you this thing. And if people don't like it, great. But often people think about us. People come back and go, "Janet, are you still using that patch?" And I'm like, "Yep, never going to get off of it." So start part-time, share some videos, invite some people to this. We have really generous personal and team rewards. And what I love, especially as we get older, when you're raising kids, you're with a lot of families, you know a lot of people, but as you get older, that sphere kind of shrinks in. And here we have this amazing community. I have friends all over the world now. We get paid weekly. Who in your life right now needs to get paid weekly that really is struggling, right? We have the 3 brand partner kits available. Again, you can have your money back 30 days if you don't like it. So let me explain the circles. We have a starter kit, doesn't include any product. You can get started for $25. What we recommend though is at least the core and advanced. Here's why. We know the patches work from the minute you put them on, but you're not going to feel them and you're going to think they're not working. However, they are. So David Schmidt knows that we preferably need to wear the X39 1 month for every decade. So if you're 30, 3 months. If you're 80, 8 months, right? So he offers this wholesale pack, the core pack, that includes 3 months of the X39. Truly, you guys, in 90 days, you're going to know a difference. We'll call you up, we'll be checking in with you. "How's your sleep?" You're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm sleeping a whole lot better." "Oh, how is your energy?" "Oh, yeah. I had a gentleman start at 80, start growing hair again, and his stylist said, 'Mr. Ken, you're growing hair and it's brown.'" So all these things start happening, right? Well, what about you and your husband or wife? The advanced pack is 3 months for her, 3 months for him, or maybe 3 months for your sister or your mother. And we give you another discount. Instead of it being $600, it's $535, a great savings again. Then there's the premium. It includes all of the above, but it is basically $2,000 worth of X39 patches for $1,750 is something I bought into once I started to realize how much I loved helping people and being able to share this. So get back with the person who invited you tonight. They'll get you started on the right thing. And all we say is, remember at the beginning, we said, take a picture of your face because your face is going to change. It reflects your whole body. So if you feel like it's the right time, the right product, the right company, and honestly, you guys, I'm someone who's helped launch multiple companies. If I had seen the growth of this company back then, my head would have whipped around. I would like, what are they doing? And here you have a worldwide market. So let me finish tonight with this wonderful little short video from LifeWave. We thank you so much. We thank you, Ann Moreau. We thank you, Dr. Pam. You guys, you got to be inspired by Dr. Pam, and it can be you too. So let me end with one more message from LifeWave.
A life empowered is closer than you think. We're all looking for a better way. Reimagine what's next with a new sense of experience. Why not power on like you mean it? Or power off blissfully. A better sleep is a better awake. You've never moved like this before. Gene nature intended. Imagine reprogramming the way you look. At the speed of science. Longevity. Exhilaration. It's next level of rejuvenation. Take control of your well-being from the inside out and outside in. The light within is ready to be the light. LifeWave.
So thank you, everyone. I think if you're as excited as we are with this and you want to share, get back with the person who invited you. We'll get you started. And again, we just truly believe there's great things coming in the future. There's great lifestyle coming. Do believe in regeneration. It's here today. So thank you so much to everyone. There is a recording of this if you want to share it with someone, and we'll be posting that. So good night, everyone. Take care.